Welcome to Change Nation, a program brought to you by First30days.com. Here's Ariane.
Hi there, and welcome to a special edition of Change Nation. Today you're going to hear some of our favorite answers to our first 30 days questions. First up is a great change agent, author, advocate, and mother, Jenny McCarthy. In this clip, you're going to hear that some of the questions took her a little bit off guard, but her answers are nothing short of inspiring. What is the belief that you go to during times of change and transition in your own life?
Believe that anything is possible. I go immediately into, I believe that I can accomplish anything in life. And, can I go into the second one?
Yes.
I believe that everything that happens is for my best benefit. And when you believe that, nothing is a, traumatic experience in your life. And you look at it and you go, oh, this was a great lesson. Oh, this brought this to me. Or, oh, this is showing me a different path. It's taking me further on my journey. So everything that happens to me is the best thing that has ever happened to me.
You're going to love the next one. Fill in the sentence, the best thing about change is...
It brings you closer to God.
Beautiful. And the last one is, what is the best change that you've ever made?
The best change that I've ever made has been the health of myself. It's when I changed my own health, I realized I was doing that out of self-love. And self-love, to me, is the most important love of all. It makes you a good mom. It makes you a great girlfriend. It makes you a great individual in life, and we forget because we're always giving. But when I turned and fixed myself and cleaned up my diet and gave myself vitamins, I went, wow, this is self-love, the best love of all.
Up next is Nobel Prize winner Jerry White. After losing a limb in a landmine blast 25 years ago, he turned this horrific accident into positive activism, co-founding Survivor Corps and becoming its executive director, and also writing a beautiful book, I Will Not Be Broken. Listen to the best change that he's ever made. What is the belief that you personally go to during times of change in your life?
That change is good and to be befriended physically, spiritually, and emotionally.
Second question, probably a bit similar given the answer you just gave me. The best thing about change is?
That it changes us for the better if we allow it.
And the last one is, what is the best change that you have ever made?
That's a great one. I guess what comes first to mind, so I say it is, I don't want it to sound all schlocky on you, but choosing my life partner and marrying Kelly Gammon White. That's probably brought out the best in me and choosing to sort of share life deeply and intimately with a equal partner must be the best change and choice I've ever made.
Our next guest is truly an inspiration. Immaculée Ilibagiza was forced to hide in a bathroom in Rwanda during the genocide with 7 other women. All this to avoid being raped, mutilated, or even killed. She came out having lost all her family, but with a renewed sense of faith and strength in her bond with God. Listen to her signature questions. They truly will touch you. What is the belief that you go to during times of change in your life?
One thing I tell myself always, and throughout every decision I take and every change that goes on, is that love is love that matters in everything. Whatever decision you do, just find out what is the most loving way to do this and what is the most loving way to proceed. Beautiful. And sometimes they make mistakes, but it always works.
Here's the second one. Fill in the sentence. The best thing about change is?
The best thing about change is that you can explore the beauty that you have not seen before. You really allow God to give you a new gift.
Here's the last one. What is the best change that you've ever made?
The best change I've ever made was to truly believe completely that God is really in my life. Every second of the day, I can talk to Him.
Beautiful. Well, we thank God for you and for your story and for what you share.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now we're going to hear from Michael Gates Gill, who at the age of 53, as a top-level advertising executive, lost his job, his marriage, and was diagnosed with a brain tumor. He found a lot of comfort and solace as a barista at Starbucks. His latest book is How Starbucks Saved My Life. It's also being turned into a movie with Tom Hanks. He's truly one that you want to listen to.
What's the main number one belief that you now go to when your life is either changing or during times of change? Is there sort of one solid thought that you hold and that you believe?
Well, it's one thing I do is, and it's more of an act. It's sort of, I put my hand on my heart, and I try to say, how do I feel? And that's helpful for me because previous life I was living by external measures, like what was my salary or that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And it's really helpful. I mean, it's I feel great. I feel really happy. So that's to me a very important.
What about this one? The best thing about change is.
The best thing about change is there's a whole new life that's better than your previous life out there. I can be completely confident about that.
Here's another one. What's the best, I think I know the answer to this question, what's the best change you've ever made?
Well, that one, yeah, the change from an uptight life to a life of more humility and freedom.
Our last guest is Darren Kagan. You might recognize her from television. She was one of those bright, shining faces on CNN for 12 years. And then she lost her job. Instead of wallowing in that job loss, she decided to go ahead and start a company, DarrenKagan.com, dedicated to positive news stories, as opposed to all this very negative news that we're constantly bombarded with. As you'll hear in her answers, staying positive has certainly been one of her guiding beliefs. What is the belief that you go to during times of change and transition in your own life? What is that belief that keeps you solid and grounded?
For me, in my own personal journey, it's a strong belief in God and that there's someone and a greater power who is steering this whole universe and steering my life, and that there is a plan, and that all that stuff that I'm trying to control, that's not really my job. And that if I'm getting stressed out about that's the indication that I'm supposed to turn it over to a much greater power.
Here's the second question. Fill in the sentence. The best thing about change is?
The best thing about change is that it's probably bringing something better than you have right now.
And here's the last one. What is the best change that you've ever made?
Wow. Clearly the best change is what I'm living right now, going from being a network news anchor to being an entrepreneur and creating my own inspirational content.
I hope you found those answers as inspirational as I did. And don't forget, every Friday, you can tune in for another episode of Change Nation. You can also hear us on the web on iTunes. Until then, I wish you loads of luck, love, happiness, prosperity, and everything else that you personally intend for 2009. Thanks for watching, and remember, change positively.